All right, such an important forecast as we all want to get out and see all of the art. Thank you, Kyle. We have a special story for you tonight at 7. He's one of the only billionaires in West Michigan, the co-chair of supermarket giant Meijer. Well, for the first time on television, Doug Meijer is opening up about his struggles with depression and how a celebrity doctor and a controversial treatment changed his life. Here's 24-hour News 8's Leon Hendricks.
His last name, a household name, Doug Meijer. His multi-billion-dollar fortune, one most could only dream of. But still, inside, he was hurting.
I didn't know how much more of it I could take.
Seated in the serene setting of the Frederick Meijer Gardens, the son of the man who built it all. He is now the co-chair of the company and listed as one of the 200 richest people in America. Proof positive, he says, that depression does not discriminate.
And it's one of those things that nobody wants to talk about.
It surfaced for him several years ago. In the midst of finding help, a cancer diagnosis, a divorce, and death, his father and friend. None of this the cause, but all factors. But now, he says, things have changed, and dramatically. Friends say,
Or you look so much happier now. And I am.
Doug Meijer credits IV treatments with a drug called ketamine. Meijer crossed state lines to get his treatments through celebrity doctor and conservative commentator Keith Abloh, who clearly
ketamine is profoundly effective.
Really thinks highly of the drug.
The gold standard. That should be front page in the New York Times. The word has to get out. It sounds too good to be true, but it is true.
It's a generic drug with FDA-approved use as an anesthetic before surgery, for example. Dr. Abloh says it's effective as a depression treatment in the majority of some 100 patients he's used it with.
People who were incredibly despondent can emerge from themselves and say, look, I'm not feeling that way. I don't have the kind of desperation I did in 45 minutes. It's a kind of miracle, but longer term, it can promote these connections between nerve cells that have gone dormant. That's profound.
But the notion doesn't come without concern. Ketamine is sometimes abused on the streets, called Special K. Some fear its use could lead to addiction. Certainly not the only depression treatment with that as a concern. And even Dr. Abloh admits sometimes it just doesn't work.
There are about 30% of the people for whom it doesn't seem to work. Even those folks shouldn't give up. Things can be done.
Dr. Abloh says it's not widely used in part because of how it's best administered, most effectively by IV, a style of treatment Abloh says many psychiatrists don't have readily available.
You should expect that your doctor might resist. It's still a little cloaked in stigma. The word still hasn't gotten out as completely as it should.
In Doug Meijer's case, he says ketamine treatments made a major difference.
It forces me almost to relax or meditate a couple times a week, just to calm down, relax, clear my thinking, and start the next day anew.
Part of his treatment has been sharing his story. Seen here supporting I Understand, a West Michigan organization that focuses on mental illness awareness and suicide prevention.
If I don't talk about it, if others don't talk about it, then it doesn't get addressed. We're not solving anything.
Doug's proof of a lot of things. Doug's proof of the fact that depression can affect anyone. He's proof that people can recover, and he's proof that you shouldn't not talk about this.
Helping others is what life was all about for the best known of the Meijers.
I don't think he could be happier.
Spreading the word and sharing gives Doug perhaps the most powerful antidepressant out there.
Hope is a beautiful thing.
Well, Meijer and Dr. Abloh were both very excited about the ketamine. Their biggest message is to do something. If you're struggling with depression, get help, and get help fast. And if you know someone, make sure that person's encouraged to get help and know that there is light at the end of this situation.
So very important. I have to say I admire him for coming out and being so strong to spread such an important message. In this controversial treatment, depression actually is so widely spread, as this is proof that that is the case. Are there people who are not candidates for this treatment?
You know, Dr. Abloh said 30% of his patients it didn't work for, 30 out of 70. So, but he didn't identify any commonality among them. But he said for some reason in 30% of the patients it didn't work. We see that in other drugs where they just don't work for some people, and that is the case with this. But they were very emphatic that there is treatment out there for everyone. They want folks to be encouraged to contact their health professionals if they do have concerns with depression. We want to show you some of those resources on the screen right now. The West Michigan Mental Health Foundation, Network 180, we've got their phone numbers there. They're online at woodtv.com. Both resources for folks who are struggling with this, and there's a lot that are.
Of course, so glad that we're putting that information out there.
Yes.
Leon Hendricks, thank you for that story.